From the valleys of Liberia to the top of Wologisi Mountain, Nimba, Grand Cape Mount, River G, to the coast of Sino, Bassa, Bong, Riverses, Maryland, Margibi, Grand Cru, Bapolu, Grand Jide, and Monserrado. We present to you Nightline Liberia, a primetime talk show loaded with factual news, fresh information. The Department of New Media and Rebranding of the Liberia Broadcasting System presents Nightline Liberia. His background, like Vandala Patrick, from the valleys of Liberia to the top of Wologisi Mountain, Nimba, Grand Cape Mount, River G, to the coast of Eugene, Lamin, Fangon, Bong, Riverses, Maryland, Margibi, Nightline Liberia, Bapolu, Grand Jide, and Monserrado. Around the country, we present to you Nightline Liberia, a primetime talk show. Nightline Liberia's final segment kicks off with its panelists and pundits from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Nightline Liberia, we set the national issues. We control the airwaves. We are the nation's pride. Ask not what your country can do for you. Our panelists are some of Liberia's brightest and best political analysts from diverse backgrounds, like Vandala Patrick, Dr. Lester Zomatic Tinney, Al Hussein Fadiga, Samson Brown Tour, Daniel Sando, and Eugene Lamin Fangon. Nightline Liberia begins at 8 p.m. with 60 minutes around the country, bringing you updates from LBS correspondents. Nightline Liberia's final segment kicks off Monday to Friday, its panelists and pundits from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. as they propound on trending national issues. Nightline Liberia. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country.
When we work together, there's nothing we cannot overcome as a people. This is why I ask all you representatives of our people to join me to do the business of the Liberian people.
Welcome. You turn right to ERBC 99.9 and other frequencies across the country. Coming up next, your favorite night talk show, Nightline Liberia, with some of Liberia's best and brightest in the political business. This song again.
The Department of New Media and Rebranding.
Let's now take the moment and turn over to the moderator for tonight, this edition, Anthony Vaughan. Mr. Vaughan, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you, and very hearty welcome to tonight's edition of Nightline Liberia. It promises to be fascinating. As you know, we are on ELBC FM 99.9 and other frequencies. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, and we're on YouTube as well. So you do your best to join us and be a part of the national discussion. Tonight, we are paying specific reference to the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, a topic that every Liberian should be interested in discussing. And we are fortunate to have with us today the officer in charge at the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, the Honorable Christopher Peters. You know, you've gone through quite some time of waiting after some situations at the Liberia National Drug Enforcement Agency. There were suspensions, there was an investigation, and there was an officer in charge. Yet still, there are many things happening about with drugs across the country. It's not just in Monrovia. But to kick off with, I'd like to join Fabin Quia to just place the spotlight on the LDEA. Tell us a little bit about the LDEA.
I will. First of all, good evening to our many listeners and also to our panelists and our guests this evening. And I will begin briefly with the history of the Drug Enforcement Agency. It says, before its creation, fighting drug crimes was a responsibility of the Ministry of Defense. The agency began as the National Drug Committee of the interim government of the National Unity. It was created in 1993 during the presidency of Amos Sawyer. 5 years later, the committee was converted into its present form from President Charles Taylor, signed a bill passed by the National Legislature that created the DEA and patterned it after the Drug Enforcement Administration in the United States. And it says in 2011, the DEA boss was blah, 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 Dr. Henry Shah. But by 2012, he had been replaced by Anthony Swa. According to the DEA boss, the agency suffers from substantial internal corruption. Now, the DEA is also an agency within the Liberian government charged with fighting drug-related crimes and supervised by the Ministry of Justice, also charged with fighting drug trafficking at the country's border, arresting traffickers and dealers, and destroying illegal drugs. It says the DEA is not responsible for overseeing commerce in legal drugs and other pharmaceutical substances. So, Anthony, that was a brief history of the Liberian Drug Enforcement Agency.
Well, thank you very, very much for being for that brief. I'm sure if you went to the LDEA itself, they will be giving you more detail. But the fact that we are bounded by time, we giving you a snapshot of what the LDEA is. Well, along the line, Mr. Peters will have we'll have the opportunity in case there are things that he wants to tell us that you didn't capture about the LDEA. He can see that as well. Well, let me flip over to our panelists. Our panelists are with us already. We want to see them on the screen. Then we can definitely. I guess something is already there. He's almost always the first to get on board with us. As we recognize them on the screen, we'll be able to. So you're welcome to the program tonight. Let's hear you. Just tell us good evening. Welcome, sir. Are you hearing us, sir, online? Are you hearing?
Thank you very much. If I'm audible,
Yes.
Thank you very much. I want to thank Fabian. With Fabian around, I think this show will go to a higher level because she continued to educate us, and I really do appreciate that. To be honest with you, we learned a lot from her whenever she gets on and take the mic, and we appreciate that. But I also want to welcome the boss tonight. You're the boss for all of us, and those of you that are on the front line, saving Liberia, whether we're in the diaspora, in Europe, whatever we are, we count on you guys. And I think you guys are doing a wonderful, wonderful job. And I also want to take the opportunity to say welcome and good evening to you as well. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, thank you very much. A few minutes into the program, we will begin to recognize those who join us online. Like you heard something say, Fabian will be here. Keep an eye on that, just to recognize those who are here. So as our other panelists join, we will also be inviting them to the show formally. So now let's formally, officially welcome our guest tonight, Christopher Peters. He's the officer in charge at the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency. In my mind, every time there's a situation, okay, I see Vandela Patrick has joined.
I wanted to hold you in content.
I saw you come. Vandela, welcome.
I was like, but is he not saying me?
No,
what's going on?
I was focusing on
or maybe I'm in a course today or what?
Well, I was focusing.
But
this guy is always like he's always waiting and ready to explode. So I was watching him on the screen to see how it's going to go. So
you know, the liberal he lives in the US. That's why a lot of me we just gave him every presentation again like 20 minutes, because he's out. But it's good to be here. And ORC, welcome to Nightline, Liberia.
Thank you.
And it's good to see you here again tonight.
Thank you, Vandala.
Thank you, Vandala. Well, OIC, we couldn't make a better choice tonight, given the critical nature of the situation with drugs in Liberia and the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency. We know there was a situation at the Drug Enforcement Agency. You were brought in probably to stabilize the situation, to ensure that in the period when we have the situation, drugs will not overwhelm us, given such a challenge that it is. So we like to begin with, how is the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency?
Thank you, Vaughan, and thank you, Fabian. I think you did a brilliant reading about the history of LDEA. It's something that we cherish and we hope to build upon it from time to time as leaders for the agency. The fight on drugs remains front and center for the agency. It is a national call. It's a national imperative that we continue to combat it. Is something that is spreading far and wide across the country, affecting largely younger population of our society. And in my mind, if we do nothing, very soon a whole generation of Liberian young people might be wiped away because of the impact of substance abuse and drug. And so the agency is okay, it's stable. We were called in, we were drafted in to ensure that we create a stable environment and peaceful and cordial environment. I think we've done that effectively. The last 2 months, you've heard no noise, nothing but quietude and great work being done. And so we're grateful for the opportunity and that we've been able to give it. We've been able to seize the opportunity to serve our country in the way we're doing. So we're grateful, and the agency is stabilized with all the challenges we have, but we continue to do what we can do under the circumstances.
So we have been hearing a lot about the situation of drugs. What would you say would be the progress in terms of measuring what progress the LD is making? Because we keep hearing about drugs being confiscated in different parts of the country, border crossings, and those kinds of things. Can you for sure say that you are satisfactorily achieving what you think the LDA needs to achieve to be able to control the situation of drugs in Liberia?
At this point, the LDA would not say we are satisfied. I think we still have a lot to do, because while it is true that we continue to make arrests and seizures across the country daily, hourly, if you check in our chat rooms, all across the country, we continue to arrest and seize substances and arrest perpetrators. Then if you tie in the big bust we had at the airport recently and the Bowater side, we have to do more. There are constraints that are limiting our capacity to doing more than what is required. But I think we're on course with our own effort, but to sort of augment that effort to do more in terms of we will need more logistics, budgetary support, and we continue to appeal to national government in that direction, and also international partners, because the fight on drugs cannot only be nationalized, it has to be given a global face. A couple of months back, we arrested a lady in a clear checkpoint who purchased cocaine from Guinea, and eventually she was taking that cocaine to Europe. So you see how it plays into transnational crime. And so, yes, we need support, we need logistics to effectively respond to some of the emergencies we have across the country. But I can tell you we're doing our best given the circumstances, but I think we need to do more. At this point, we cannot say we are satisfied with what we're doing, because if you look all across our communities, you see the impact. I mean, we can pretend. I mean, we can sort of limit the extent of what is going on in the country is serious. And so we have to rally as a country, as a people, as community, as families, as religious people, whether the churches, the mosques, schools. We all need to come together and see how we can stem this from our community.
So tonight, what we're going to do, each of us is going to have 2 minutes to ask a question, and then you can come back again, just so that we can have the time to ask as many questions as we can. So I will kick off with Vandela.
Before Vandala comes in, let's welcome Thomas Guwa. He just joined us.
Well, Tom, you're welcome. Would like to hear you also speak to us.
Thank you. Hello, and I'm happy to be here.
Okay, Thomas Guwa is one of, you heard about those panelists that we have, the Vandelas, the Thomas Guwa, the the sound scenes and all of that. I haven't seen Koto today. Is that Jala?
Yes, Koto Jala.
Okay,
Yeah.
so probably she will join us somewhere to come. So is that OIC? Please be expecting that we have panelists that will join us online. Vandela, we come back to you for your 2 minutes for the first set of.
Yeah, quickly. I was just told by D-Flow that the OIC is only here for 1 hour.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes, yes.
Given the sensitivity of this matter, we don't want you to leave and you hear other conversations that you might not like, because this is critical. Our program starts from 8 to 10 p.m. I want to beg your indulgence. The fact that you agree to come here, this is very important. Drug issue in this country. I am a victim. My nephew is a drug addict. And to see you here, I'm very impressed. So to discuss an issue that is destroying the future of the country, just for 1 hour you want to leave, I want to beg your indulgence. I mean, this is a plea. I don't know your previous engagement, but if you leave all here, we might say something that you might not be in a position to defend, and public sentiment might go against you.
Let me say that when I got an invitation to come to ELBC, to Netline, I told that I was going to be available for about an hour, but we can always come back in the future if the program needs additional information from us. But we already have an engagement that we want to honor after the 1 hour. So I beg you, Vandela, maybe you can. I mean, you can have a conversation. I mean, this is a national conversation, and we all have the obligation to see what we can do given the circumstances. So if you have particular questions, I can respond to them. But if you have opinion, that if you can also express them.
I know, because we are several panelists, and we may not be able to, engage you within 1 hour. I just wanted to make this very clear before the public say, "Oh, but the man supposed to be there," all that kind of thing. For me, I'm very critical. So, specifically, let me just start.
So I like to say that we discount that first part, and it was an appeal, and we now wait for your 2 minutes.
Okay, yes. So my first question is, prior to your appointment as ORC, did you see the need to do your drug test? Because the president, His Excellency Joseph Nyuma Boaka, declared war on drugs as health emergency as ORC, because the previous director that are currently under suspension did do their drug test. As ORC, have you had a time to do a drug test?
Yeah, we did a drug test 2 weeks ago.
Congratulations.
Unannounced drug test. We did it at the office, including myself and a couple of officers.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
The other issue I have is that as officer in charge, today I posted in our chat room, I had a time to go to the LDEA. I talked to some people with respect to your work, and I've been very clear. My understanding is that when you took over, you had a time to ask the 3 suspended directors, their staffers, to stay home. And I was like, why? And the information was that the CSA, you did it in line with the CSA. But the act that created the LDEA states very clearly, every director is entitled to carry 5 staffers. And of course, after their confirmation, they needed to carry people. So we are talking about 15% that you are stopped from working at the LDEA because their bosses are under suspension. How can you address that, sir?
So I thought we were going to focus more on the fight, but I think...
No, it's the fight, because these are people that work within the LDEA. They are staffers.
I can address that. So what we did was to ask people who are not employed with the agency, even though they have come along with the 3 suspended directors, but they are not employees of government, potentially the who have gotten employed later on. But as we speak, they are not employees. So, and we are not using the office to work. Currently, I'm sitting in the conference hall because I want to respect the 3 suspended directors. They are not dismissed. So I thought to not use their offices. And so, therefore, the office staff they have who are not civil servants, who are not government employee, it was going to be difficult for me to use them. So I had to ask that we close the 3 offices, and that these people who came with these directors to stay home, and if the president sent them back, and then they can come back to work. But basically, they are not employees of government. So I didn't send civil servant home.
Okay, so let me just push back a little bit.
Yeah.
The act that created the LDEA states clearly, it's in the act. I'm sure you read the act. As a Director General of the LDEA or Deputy Director for Operations or Administration, once you are appointed and confirmed, you are entitled, like any other minister, you go into any ministry or agency, you carry people with you.
So when you carry the people with you, potentially they have to be placed on payroll.
Of course.
Okay, so they didn't get to that point to place them on payroll. So they were civilian. As I entered the building, they were not employed. They were unemployed people assigned with the directors. So what you want to do as an ORC, and offices are already their bosses are on a suspension. You want to close the office down, and those who are not employed with the agency can stay out until the bosses come back.
But let me push back ORC quickly on this final matter.
Let me just
come in quickly. Let me just end this matter.
Let me just hold you there and welcome our two panelists. Cisse Goya is online and Koto Jala. Welcome to the program.
It will be a good thing to hear you say something to us as well, so we all know you're here.
I think internet problem.
Cisse, can you say something?
Oh,
we can hear you, unfortunately. Koto, can you try? Let's see.
Yeah, I'm hearing you guys. Am I loud?
Yeah, you are loud and clear. So you want to check if you're not muted? Okay, so but as we go along, we will try to confirm that.
Yeah, just to close on this matter, ORC, the point is this president, His Excellency Joseph Juma Boaka, made it very clear. Build Liberia, as you always say, building Liberia together. These are people, especially when they act states clearly. I'm a student of public administration. So acting in the confines of the act, that if I am appointed as LDEA boss or minister, I'm entitled to carry people, 5, limited or almost the members of the national legislature. And in the process, somebody carry maybe 3 or 5. And the civil service agency had a procedure that they needed to vet, and just within that process, they were suspended. I am begging you. Today, I was at the national legislature because the CSA said they could not put the people on the payroll. I went there to verify, and I saw hair counts at the House of Representatives, to be specific. I want to beg your indulgence. The 3 suspended directors, they acted in the confine of the law. To appoint, not to appoint, to take staffers, they are entitled to 5. They carry them there, and there is a process for them to be placed on the payroll. While in that process, they got suspended. You going there as a caretaker, I think it was a wrong action to have asked them to stay home while they have served the entity for like 3 or 4 months.
So
I want you to go and review that. This is just a recommendation, but it's illegal because they acted in the confines of the law. The act that created the LDEA states clearly that the Director General, the Deputy Director for Operation, the Deputy Director for Administration, they are entitled to carry 5 staffers. If they choose to work with the people they meet there, fine. If they carry people there, it's legal.
So let me attempt again to finally clarify. The act of the LDA doesn't operate in a vacuum. The act provides that these offices are allotted specific staffers. When you take the staffers to the agency, you have to enroll them into the civil service program. Until they are placed on this payroll, they are not employees of the agency. These are civilians who hope to be employed potentially. So what we did, because this is a security institution, we are not determining whether or not they will work with the directors if they come back. All we did was to close the offices, because we're not using the 3 offices, and thereby the people who come to the offices will have to stay home until the crisis is resolved. That's the decision we took. But let me clarify that we did not send government employees home. We did not send civil service home. To do that, then we'll be violating the Civil Service Standing Order. And we have not even violated the LDEA Act, because the contemplation of that law is that when you are confirmed as a director, you have a list of people assigned to your office. You bring them to the agency, and potentially they get employed by the civil service standards. If that portion is not exhausted, they cannot be referred to as.
But the process was ongoing when they got suspended.
Well,
so you as a caretaker, you needed to continue the process.
No, there was no process that was ongoing. There was intention to do that, but there was no process that I stopped. In fact, I haven't stopped any employment. I haven't made any dismissal.
So I appreciate so much the concerns about other aspects of the DEA, but we are thinking that the focus largely should be in the towards the I agree, it's a part of the.
Oh no! Don't distract. This issue has to be. These are people with expertise. Okay, they were working for like 2-3 months. Yes. Performing functions of the LDEA, and now we're talking about 15% here.
Yeah.
And this rumor about JNB witch hunting people and here and there, we don't want. Why you need to take food from people, and these are professional people. So I went at the LDEA today.
You were misinforming the public, Vadela.
No, I'm not misinforming the public.
You're misinforming the public when you say you take food from people's mouth.
Oh yes.
I continue to clarify that these people were not. They are not employed. They are on no form of remuneration at the agency.
But they were going through the process and you stop it.
No, they're not stopping the process.
You stop it. You told them not to go to work.
No, it's different.
No, let's get this clear.
Can I hold you all?
You're misinforming the public.
No, I'm not.
You are.
I'm reading the ad and you confirm that.
But the ad did not tell you that there was a.
No, they are entitled to fire staffers. And these people carry them there in the process, they got suspended. Don't suspend them to say stay home, don't come to work. As a caretaker, you needed to facilitate their processes.
There was no process.
No, then who would they be working for, Vanilla Patrick? If the people they
let's hold this town, put it right, right here as we go along, and come and other panelists also give their views. Probably will come.
But you don't tell me what to say. I'm a panelist. I feel that these people are in the employ of the LDEA.
But I'm telling you correctly that they are not in the employ of the LDEA.
Okay, in the performing services of the LDEA, and they were in the process of regularizing their status because their director general appointed them. The 3 directors, they were confirmed, and they are say they are entitled to 5 staffers.
Yes.
They carry them, and why in the process to enroll them within the civil service, they got suspended. As an ORC, you're supposed to facilitate the process. Yes. They did not commit the crime, which you did not do.
So you gave a recommendation, what you want.
Yeah, for him to go and review that.
I'm saying, let's hear from the other.
But I got disappointed, Mr. Brown, to say, I thought this thing was being focused on LDA. I don't think you should tell me what to talk. No. I take serious exception to that.
Yeah,
you're misinforming the public.
No, I'm not.
So can we
but
hold this count at this point?
Yeah, man,
there's a recommendation, and you are disagreeing. So let's hear from the other panelists. We can still come back and bring it up.
Thank you.
Do we have a deal?
Yes.
Okay. So, Koto, are you hearing us? You want to intervene here?
Yes, I'm hearing you guys.
I'll take the first shot on this one.
I'm getting a feedback. I don't know.
Okay. Samson, let's hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, you're loud and clear.
Okay. Yes, I've always yielded my position to many of the young people, but I think as an older person, this is time that I take the first shot on this one, because we need to have a fruitful conversation here tonight, because it's very important. Thank you very much, Boss. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Patrick, while you have a good point, but I think we were given a limited time, and perhaps you could use your second or third or whatever time you have to continue to push.
But you don't teach me how to talk.
You have the right to do that, because he's working for all of us, and I appreciate that as well. But let me say this here. As an older person now, I would take a liberal, yes, but as an older Liberian, let me say this here. Director, thank you very much. We read some information today on the news, your bust of trying to save the country with all of those drugs that are coming in, and your folks are fighting hard to make sure the drugs don't come into the country. I want to thank you, and I want to congratulate you. Now,
thank you.
The opportunity that I was going to use, I was going to ask you simply a question, which was going to be for you to give me 1 or 2 minutes of your time to tell me to lecture me on leadership style, because I don't want to go into the drugs issue, what you do and what you don't, because these are sensitive area, and I don't want to be here to probe into area that perhaps were not quite qualified, to be honest with you. I'm Samson Todd, not qualified to probe you in those areas, but I was going to open up general type of conversation so that I will learn from you to help me, to educate me the type of leadership style in these type of bureau, or as the minister said yesterday, I shouldn't say minister, I shouldn't say director, I should say minister. So I'll be very careful. I think this is a bureau or a department, I don't know what it is, but I will hope you educate me at us. But before you take this, let me address the conversation between you and Mr. Patrick. Why Mr. Patrick has the right to do that as a liberal. I think you also, as a incoming caretaker, did the right thing. Now, there are ways we could, I liberal will not be certified for folks to be off of work. But here's the issue here with that, because when you came in on a different circumstance. Even though these people were coming in with whatever employee of they have, but a corrected state, as you corrected state, they were now on the payroll. So the process is ongoing. But even in our own traditions situation, if you have a conflict within a quarter, I'm not even talking about town, you will have to pat the company, those who are having the conflict, to say you're set aside. And there was a conflict that for which you were brought in. We don't expect you to carry out those people, even if they were not involved, but they have some sort of a loyalty to, I would say. So for you to come and say, you guys need to step aside, I don't think you did anything wrong. In our culture, that's how it's supposed to be. And not only that, you decided to throw the book out there. Because of that, I will ask to please, they can stay home, but if you can use your authority to put those people on the payroll so that they will get paid while they're waiting for this decision, I think it will go a long way, because they also have children and family members. And it's not the responsibility of government. As long as you're not on payroll, they don't owe you nothing. I understand that, but I'm begging you in this public manner. Thank you very much.
Okay, so you want to speak to that?
I wanted to speak to the first question, but because I think Vendala and I, we had a back and forth on this employment issue. So one of the first things we did when we got at the agency was realize that these 3 offices were at loggerhead. And so as OIC, when I got in, an attempt to work with one office, you get into the conflict. The perception will be you side with A against B and C. So what we did, in fact, up to today, I've carried 0% to LDEA. I went in alone, and I'm working with everybody that I met there that are employed under the civil service regime. And so even I refuse to sit in those offices because I want to respect the suspended leadership. They are not dismissed. So I'm sitting in a conference room downstairs. That's where I run the bureau, the agency operations from. So these people, when I found out that they were not employed, and they're paying their way to come every day to the agency, and we're not giving them anything. We're not paying them salary. We're not paying them any form of compensation. There's no formalized document there to say, okay, in the absence of employment, this is what the Director General is doing, or the Deputy Director Generals are doing. Free. They just come with the hope to get employed. So what we did, the fact that we closed the offices down to respect the dignity of the leadership, we had to ask them. The first decision was, you can even alternate, so that I don't want to burden them with transportation, because we're not giving them anything. And I'm not asking them to do anything, because I do not want to work with any of them for the sake of being perceived as you siding. So the first suggestion was to alternate. And then later on, we made a decision and said, look, stand down while the offices are locked. And if your bosses do come back as a result of the president's decision, you come back. I am not deciding who they pick. I carried 0% up to today. And I'm working with those who are employed that I met in the system. And so going back on the leadership issue, I mean, we all have different leadership styles. What I've been able to do to stabilize that agency is to sit around the table with everybody and and allow them to participate in the decision-making process. We work in sessions. If we have a mandate to fulfill for the Minister of Justice or the President's office, we'll sit together, put our heads together and encourage them, because They are working under some of the most difficult circumstances. I don't know about other agencies, but my agency historically seemed to be an agency that has been abandoned largely by government. There are constraints that have gone for years, for decades unaddressed at LDEA. And so a lot of people there were demotivated. And most of the directors before me, and thanks to all the hard work they did, a lot of them focus on the hard side of the work, the raids, the arrests, which is good. But also they forget about building system and structures and the people and improving the condition. So we want to concentrate on both the soft side and the high side, because we believe if we structure the LDE very well and very professionally, it will impact the physical work we do on the field. So
Okay.
that's why we've been spending some time, and that's why you see we've been off the radio and been in there and working with the people to bring them along the leadership decision.
But we are also happy that you are here, because being on the radio is a part of your fight, and people have to know what is going on.
I agree.
So let's join Koto. Koto, do you have an intervention at this point?
Yeah, I want to say hi to everybody here, and also the DEA director and the people of Liberia. My concern is that right now I just want to thank the director for the step they have taken so far, because it is a situation that is very grave to Liberia, especially when it comes to where our youth mainly are affected. And we are all affected in our line, because we have our children and that's our citizen. We need to be responsible for whatever they have been going through. And also I want to thank the director for the step they have taken in arresting such a murder drug. My own question to the director, acting director, that is, we have been seeing similar thing, arresting drug and even at the point of burning them, and all other process they have been going through. What is the difference with this now from what, from the others that they have been doing before?
Okay, some of the things we're doing, they're routine, like burning drugs is a routine thing. The goal of that, or the objective of that, is to make sure that these drugs that are seized do not go into recycling. So they are routine stuff. So whether it's me or another person tomorrow, you still see people burning drugs. But what we want to do for the period we are, we can do so much, because OIC is now permanent status until the president can make a decision. But what we want to do is, while we continue to do the supply reduction, which is a pillar on LDA, basically we arrest, break the network for distribution, and charge and prosecute. But what we also want to do is to focus inside too, and give some life to the people who are working there. I think these people, they've been abandoned for a while. They've had maybe in the past leadership deficit, and so they've not been recognized. They've not been motivated to form part of what we're doing in the country. And so what we want to do is to focus on institutional building, structure, system, policies, and procedures. And we believe if we do that and create an environment where they can be able to freely express their skills, their talents, I think it will impact largely what's happening. But on a general front, with the fight against drugs, this government, the president set up the National Steering Committee, which the Ministry of Youth and the Ministry of Health chairs. The goal of that is to have a multi-sectoral approach in fighting drugs. And so in the long run, there will be rehabilitation. The government is we're working on the policy phase at the steering committee level, so that we can move at-risk youth through the LDEA facilitation into structures that will be identified and built around the country. And once they get clean and treated, youth and school comes in with TVETs, and then they get out with some skills to reintegrate into the society. But what, in the absence of that, what LDA continue to do is to ensure that we mend the border, given the conditions working, mend the border, mend the airports, and work internally to disrupt that network, break the chain of supply. And if anyone who is caught in that drug net, we arrest you, investigate you, and send you to court. In June, we secure 19 indictments in Montserrat County. So if you look at the totality of the country, it will be more than 20 indictments across Liberia. We also got 3 convictions in 2 counties, Lofa and Bapolo County. So hopefully this August term of court, there are a lot of cases that we will be trying and ensuring to secure in that. And so we are going after those who importing the drugs into our country, those who supplying the drugs, and those who selling the drugs. That's where I will focus on now.
Okay. Yes, I just wanted to say a little thing on the Vandela, accusation or maybe recommendation issued. And I have realized that so many people just take people into institutions, following them. Then you see another time the other group is moving, and then they move along with other group, which is not, actually conducive, or let me say not even conducive, that's not the right word, but which is not prudent to people you're bringing them into institution where they are not in the employ. And this is what contribute a lot to the corruption that we talk about. You are bringing people into the institution where they are not employed, and they go to work every day. How do you expect the people to sustain themselves, even transport themselves? So I'm saying, Vandela, this is a system that is set. If they are not in the employ, you don't keep them in the institution where they are not employed, and you just hold them perpetually where as they have not even been a deadline to what they and when the investigation will be any. So I think that's not right to say, okay, he should hold them there when in fact he doesn't have any fund to sustain them there. So it is.
Let me educate my sister a little bit.
No, there is not a dialogue. You're making it like a dialogue, and we all know there is a system. The system is there, and my point would be that to advise other people who are going there with others, you don't carry people in an institution and you don't follow the right procedure, and this is a corrupt act. If it was a right thing, then they should have been on payroll since in fact they were there. But if he didn't do it, the right thing is not done. It's just not done at all. So he who just come here as IT director should not be held responsible. The people who left, they should be held responsible. If you don't have the fund to maintain the people that you take there in, how are you going to sustain them? I think that's another act of corruption. I think he should not be held responsible for that. We hold the people responsible that take these people there and do not take the initial step by getting them into the employ. I have heard of that. Right now we have the EPA problem with the EPAs that we are complaining today. That's a problem that we are facing, and people that were working with the executive branch, even the marshal, we're seeing those processes. So we should start solving this problem now before it becomes a problem in the future. Because you don't know like what the unexpected incident occur. We don't expect people who are coming in after to take the responsibility of the past, whereas they don't have the means. I think that's what I have to contribute to, Vandela.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just educate my sister a little bit. My sister,
Vandela, we have
that is not dialogue. We all know the system.
Okay, the ORC has to leave.
Yeah,
Okay.
So let's hear from Sissy. From there, we get a few calls.
Sissy?
We will still be here. We can still make up.
Yes, Sissy is here.
So, Sissy, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, good evening, everybody. Sorry, I changed my computer, so I had some difficulties. My apologies. I followed the conversation offline, and it's been spirited. Mr. OIC, I hope he's hearing me, but I want to say,
are you hearing me?
Yeah, please go ahead.
I want to say hello to you, and I want to recognize the immense difficult situation you got put into coming in to take over an agency that is very, very important and critical, but also that has some issues with leadership. Having said that, I have some questions, and if you're not able to answer those because you're on OIC, I will understand. But if you can share some light to the extent you're able to, I would really appreciate that. My first piece is, did you meet any plan in place? Because I know you talk about an intergovernmental working group. Are there any plans in place where the Ministry of Health, along with the Liberia National Police and Education, and you, the LDEA, can partner to have some education classes in our kindergarten through 12th grade classes on prevention? preventative methods, so that we don't first wait for our kids to get involved in drugs, and then we try to imprison our way out of it. Are there preventive measures wherein you have people in the classroom teaching our kids on the effect of drugs and what it has on them mentally, physically, socially, and everything else? The next question I got in line with is not in line with that, but it's something you talk about, is the drug burning. In your professional opinion, is that the best way to get rid of those drugs, by burning them? Have you had a discussion with the EPA on the effects of burning the drugs, or finding other ways that might be better than burning? Those are my two questions. And again, like I said, I understand the situations you're in, so if you don't have the answer, I would appreciate that also.
So let me start from the last one about burning. Yes, I think there was a concern about the way we destroy the drugs, concern about environmental pollution. We can have the conversation with EP and see what the advice will be going forward. But what we do currently is annually, once the courts dispose of drug seized, that means suspects linked to those drugs are convicted, we annually, in observance of the International Day on Drugs, we gather up Disco Hill and destroy them. But we can have the conversation with EP and see what the advice would be. There are conversation of us using incinerator. I don't know whether it will help than what we do currently, but we can look in that direction and have some conversation and see what the best alternative would be. What was it? The other question? You can just come out with the other question.
Prevention for our.
So there's a national not just conversation, but there's a national framework being finalized at the National Steering Committee set up by the president. So I spoke earlier about this multi-sectoral approach. So key ministries and agencies, including the LDEA, are coming together, and we're reviewing something we call the National Drug Master Plan, which gives a comprehensive approach and bringing in all the other pieces and the different roles that individual institutions and agencies supposed to play in tackling it. But individually, as an institution, we do have a prevention office that go out there and talk to schools, kids, trying to build anti-drugs clubs in high school. And even at that steering committee level, there are programs that we have to jointly partner to go across the country and work with community members. Because one of the things we want to do, aside from just arresting people, we think prevention, if we invest in prevention, we would do less arrests. And so, yeah, that is the national idea. That is the national objective, to work with community members, churches, mosques, school, go across the country and talk to everybody and see how they can help. And currently in Monrovia, we have communities that are writing LDEA, calling us and sending our SOS calls, and we're working with them to clear some of the communities. For example, we were able to clear the famous Zimbabwe up Namwe town, and we're even opening a depot there. So we believe that once we deploy there, it will discourage reassembly of these RX youth. If you go into Virginia, there's another facility we'll clear up, and along with the LMP, thanks to the LMP, we clear up and also about to open another detail there. There were reports recently that at RX youth were gathering under the Stockton Creek Bridge. We send men there and we've deployed there for some time, and it discouraged our assembly. And so some of these communities now are getting peace and sanity and stability again. We just encourage a lot more communities, because you live in the community with these people. Some are your tenants, some are your landlords, some are your neighbors. Just reach out to our, and pretty soon we'll be activating our hotline again. We'll be reactivating the hotline again. That way we can encourage citizen engagement and reaching out to the LDEA in real time across the country to see how we can tackle some of these issues.
Okay, thank you very much. We're looking very much at the time, but we want Fabin now to just tell us some of the people who are following us quickly.
Yes, we have Siriki Tuari. He says, good evening. Mohammed Kamara is following from Congo Town. Generous Obidiah Bashu, live from Buchanan. Tuokoli Imamna Kofa from Barclayville, City Grand Crew. Raymond 12 from Greenville, Sino County. Flomo Livingston says, I'm watching from the U.S. Burgess is also following. Jackson Dorner said he's watching us live from District 2, Grand Juda County. And Ada Zoni asking to pin Jack Luo watching from Saniquari. And John Fowler says, I'm watching live from Minnesota. And so we have Clinton Abraham from Clark City, and Mariam Bimba says she's watching from California. And Opie O'Neill Johnson says, I'm watching from Dole Community. Good evening. Roland Freeman said, I'm following from the US. And Robert J. Clark, our own Robert J. Clark from the US Embassy, said the OIC is well on top of his game. Jefferson Francis Colacco Jr. says he's watching from Sinka. Abdullah Sisi from Barnersville Junction. Jefferson Colacco says, good evening, LBS family so far.
Thank you so much. I mean, there's a lot to talk about. We got under 10 minutes based on what the OIC
No,
said.
the OIC extended
We,
it to 20
we
minutes.
haven't heard Thomas
Okay.
yet. Thomas,
No, it says somebody Thomas Gore is somebody talking about Thomas Gore.
Yeah,
I couldn't give Bengala
with
the 1 hour, but I gave him 30 minutes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. With the expansion, we got a little bit of opportunity to expand it now. So, so we just go right away to Thomas to hear him. You've been listening to the other panelists and the OIC and all of us, yeah. So
Yeah,
can you
we're
wait
trying
now?
not to waste our time. Firstly, before I ask a few questions I have, I just want to throw a little light on what transpired between Vandela and the OIC concerning those employees. This thing is a real big issue, and if Vandela really wants to fight it, I think he should start fighting it from the standpoint of proposing laws that will correct this issue. This
But
is
I
going
made
to lead,
recommendations.
this
You were
is
making
going to lead
allegations.
to
Bro, these
a
are
very big issue,
Categorical
and not
allegations.
just with one agency. This is happening across the country at every institution where they have these policies that say when someone comes, they should bring along whoever they want to bring, at least maybe 2, 3. Like for the case of the DEA, they are saying 5. Now, what is going to happen is that we are going to have a situation in the future where the payroll is going to get saturated, the institution is going to get saturated with employees, that you won't be able to have space. You will have a lot of employees in the place, and most likely they are not going to be doing anything, or you have multiple people doing a very simple task, and it will not be efficient. What am I saying? When you bring in your person, what happens to the person that has been there that the other person brought? The policies are allowing you to keep those people. If they are there, they should just be like transferred to HR, and HR will find a place to put them. But what happens if we grow to the point that there is nowhere for HR to kind of place these other employees that you are removing from your office? Then it becomes another issue. This is going to lead to a bigger issue that is going to explode if we don't work on it now. If we don't find a way to either stop it through some legislation, or find a means through these institutions to curtail this issue or put a complete stop to it. Because bringing new people every time is just adding up the employees, and at the end of the day, you're definitely not going to be able to have an efficient operation going, or you're not going to have an efficient institution, because you have so many people and there is nothing for them to do, but by law they have to be there. So we really need to work on this. And Vandala, I think you should take upon the mantle of power to go to the legislature and start write some laws that you can go and propose to them so that they can really
I will respond later. I will respond later. I reserve my comment for now.
Time bomb, I'm telling you. With that being said, a few questions I have to ask the honorable man in the studio there. Number one is, can we expect any groundbreaking updates or significant changes in how the agency is tackling drugs trafficking since you took over? And are there any new partnerships or initiatives that we should be aware of? And lastly, are there any best practices or lessons that Liberia is adapting from other nations' experiences to combat?
Yes, we can assure you with the right support for national government and partners, you will see new trends in performance. As a matter of fact, and I thought that some of the issues Vendela will be talking about, we just in a week we seized about nearly $1 million US dollar worth drugs from RIA and Bowadasa. That if it had landed on our soil, imagine the number of kids or young people it will have affected. And so, yes, once once the president makes a decision, but while we stay around, you can expect nothing much but the best. Our records is clear where we've worked before, and the professional life we've kept, the discipline, principle, and integrity we bring to the job. But afford us the opportunity to do something differently. But it will also be contingent upon the kind of support you receive, because you see, drug is actually perpetrated in extreme secrecy, and so to use counsel secrecy, it goes to a lot of resources, planning, and strategy. And so again, we ask for support from central government. In terms of partners, yes, their partners have shown willingness to help the agency. But usually these people, they are not comfortable to work in the kind of transition we're on. They want to work with a more permanent and stable leadership. And so once the president makes his decision finally, I sure a lot of the partners will come back to help the agency in the further game trust.
Okay. Thank you very much. Very shortly, we'll take on our callers. In fact, I think we should be going to them now. Vandela, we ask that when you are responding to the callers, you please include the comments you're talking about, because we're at 9 o'clock and the OIC has 30 minutes. Do we have a deal?
No, the OIC say standardly by 30 minutes.
That's what I'm saying.
It's 9
Oh, okay. Now we go over 1 hour. Okay.
Yeah, you spend a lot of time talking about.
But quickly before you take the course, it's important to educate. Yeah, it's important to educate our fellow panelists. The law is the law. The act that created the LDEA made it very clear.
Can the Vandela show for transparency sake? No.
Specific provision. I don't have the listen.
This is why we said
no. Tomorrow I can post it even before coming here. I post it on Facebook that will be hosting you and will be asking you tough questions.
Yeah, you did not reference. Yeah. I just wanted you to reference.
No. Listen, but you know that in as much as I may not have a direct the act, I mean the specific article now, but you agree with me in your presentation that yes, but because they were not placed on the payroll, you thought it was to allow them to stay.
So that yes you referred to as agreement.
No.
I'm coming. It is a practice across.
It is a practice. Fair to the callers to allow them to.
Yeah, let me just lay.
When we come back, then we go through that.
Yeah, let me just lay on the point. It is a practice across government that usually when officials come to office, they bring people. Now we need to find out from Vandela whether he has a specific area in the act that says that.
But you agree with me just recently.
It's a practice. What I'm telling you, my point is, you met people at an agency who are not government employees. They are civilians. There's no formal relationship. There's no contract. There's no document inherited to say, look, these people are about to be employed. Let's pay them maybe $100 for transportation. There's no formal relationship. These people hoping to get employed.
Thank you, OIC.
No. I can't understand. We have to make it very clear. I think my sister, Balayan, and that of Thomas Buo, my two panelists, it's important for me to. I made the statement. I don't speak based on lack of information. Every ministry and agency of government, once you are employed, especially let me take this into context. This is a sensitive security agency. I want to say security because fight against drugs, you need confidentiality, you need people you can work with to do your job. He just told you he refused to use the offices of the TD director, and that is significant to work somewhere where he is conducive.
Yeah,
but my point is, let's get this clear.
What we're asking you for is to allow the callers to chip in, and in our conclusions, you have an opportunity.
No, I was responding to the two panelists. I'm not talking about the caller. I hold them to high esteem. I just wanted to clarify a few things that is said that I think the public needs clarity. My thing is, the law is the law. When you are appointed and confirmed, you are entitled to carry certain number of persons. In
yes,
the case
you
of
didn't employ them.
We have
You
three
did not employ these
So we
people.
are talking. No, listen. You carry them there while they were in the process.
Oh man, you said while they were in the process, it was just not done,
This
Vandera.
issue, they are not civil servant, they were not in the employ. When they took over, the process commenced. It was not an event. Even today at the national legislature, people were doing hair count. The speaker summoned the CSA boss to say, no, pay our people. Because we are entitled to bring people we want.
So where did they take the money from to pay those people?
When they got suspended. As an ORC, I felt that in the spirit of coordination and continuation, you needed to facilitate these people. They did not commit the crime. Their bosses committed crime, and you needed to continue. They did not do that illegally.
We can be on this one thing forever.
We were effectively stopping.
They were not fully employed. How will you force him to do something?
Exactly. Where you get money from to pay them?
Okay, no problem.
Thank you. Online, thank you. Can we now give an opportunity to our callers to participate in the show? The number to call is 0772 876481. 0772 876481. We'll be live on Nightline Liberia, and you will be participating in the program. Tonight we have in studio the officer in charge at the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency. So do we have the first caller?
Thank you, Mr. Bowen, Fabian, and the rest of the panelists. Good evening.
Please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, my name is Hussein. I'm Hussein Teo, and I call you this time from Jacobstown.
Let's hear you.
Let me confirm to your guest in studio. The issue of Joss is national security issues. So, like, he trying to propound on some of the work of the LDEA. But with all due respect, I want to disagree with one of the panelists who continue to ask about those employees that came along with the directors who were suspended. And the men make it very clear. People are suspended on suspension, they expect to stay within the employ of the LDA. I think it worked that way. So I think we should be asking the progress made at the LDA and the challenges. Because you continue to hit back at those who were quote unquote taking up jobs. I think that is not significant to the discussion. The LDA has made significant strides with the suspension of those directors. The OIC is making significant strides in the fight against drugs. I think we should be applauding and asking the high question challenges within the LDA. Okay. Rather than asking those questions, I think that are now more significant to the discussion.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's go back to the line and see who's there. Hello, caller.
Hello, how you doing, my brother?
I'm fine, thank you. Tell me your name and where you calling from.
My name is Alfonso Seno. I call you from Johnson Street.
Let's hear you.
Okay, now my question I have to put to the director there is that what are they doing? Because he made mention of disbursing some of the they draw boys from the drug camp. Of my question has to do with the Pango Cemetery. Right now, as I'm speaking to you, there are a lot of Zoko that are sleeping there. They were dispersed there. Few days later, they will just go there, do some running behind it for just something like 5 minutes. After this time, everybody will reassemble there, and they will rebuild the things. They are selling the drugs to one another, like somebody selling candy. And so, they told them from on Central Street there, those people are there. So why is the director doing that? When they have some people they have there, they can run behind them from Virginia, from under the bridge, all the things. But what about those that are in Central Monrovia? Even if you go there any time of the day, you see the children there. They are selling, they are taking it intentionally. They are not.
Okay. Thank you. Let's go to the line. Hello, caller. Please tell me your name and where you calling from.
Thank you. This is Gray Chelsea. I'm calling from Monrovia.
Yes, Gray.
Okay. Look, so to Bandara Padre, he said there is a law that says that whenever you are appointed confined and you occupy an office, you are supposed to carry a certain number of staff with you. And so I want you to please start that law for us, the article and which law Let us get educated, because you can't just be in vain and then you expect us to run with it.
Okay.
All right. Having said so, let me go to the DEA director.
Okay.
Mr. Director, first of all, I want to commend you for hard work done. At least you are on a good footing. Notwithstanding, you have to do more. More in terms of prosecuting people. We're not hearing, you're arresting drugs, you're arresting people, but we're not hearing anything from the court. We're not hearing anything from the prison center. So what happened to the people that are in possession of drugs? Wow, I would not hearing anything. So Director, you can speak on that. Let's hear from you what happened to the people that are being arrested with drugs in their possession.
Thank you. Let's go to the next caller. Hello, caller. Please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, sir. Please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
I'm Gabriel Saki Telewan from Lufa County. Thank you very much. I want to tell the ORC, thank you very much for your hard work. But I have a question for the ORC. The way you go working harder, and those of us that are in the villages, we still receiving some of these things, and from where I live to Vonyama is very, very far. Will you people recruit some people so that they can ask for you people to see how best we can fight this battle? The next thing is, the next question I have for Brother Vandala, if somebody is not employed into any institution, you have the right to put a person in there. How much dollar you going to pay that person? Who will pay? Will you pay or the government?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So before we go to the next caller, I'd like to recognize our friends from Besu FM 89.9. They're actually relaying the show. They're there in Wela District, number 5, Magibi County. Thank you very much for relaying. Let's go back to the telephone line. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. Please tell me your name and where you calling from.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me say good evening to you. Good evening to the director. This is Bobby Abu Menska. I joined the discussion from this place as the couple. Let me applaud the director. But we have a little problem like when it comes to the drugs issue, because firstly we used to see some things happening on the social media, many of these drugs that is there that the DE have arrested, but we are not seeing these things happening. When it comes, the director did extremely well, more especially of getting based on the SD Group called the Zimbabwe. Today the Zimbabwe was nice. This, but our brother have moved to the Kingsley in the graveyard. So I want to know what the next things of the director, not taking the drug, but those who are taking the substance. What are they using? Let's say those people that are taking the drugs in the country, but our brothers are in the street. Are the government prepared now to build a rehabilitation center?
Thank you. So let's take the next caller. Hello, caller. Please tell me your name and where you're calling from. Hello there, caller. So we go to the next caller. We don't have a luxury of time. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller? So the number to call is 0772 876481. 0772 6481. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. So when you call, once you are gone through, speak to the phone. Hello, caller. Please tell me your name and where you calling from.
I'm calling from Carter, T1.
Let's hear you.
Thank you for this talk show this evening. You know where you were discussing concerning about those that sometimes have no involvement. I don't care if people along with them. Where a person, go to put them on to be a hero or spiritual servant, then in the process, then the boss have been stuck or suspended. It means that if they don't conclude their payroll process, it will mean that all of them have been suspended.
Okay.
So in the process, when another person coming in to have to bring a wound of poison.
Okay.
So the thing is, I have to be also.
Okay, so let's move on to the next caller. Please try to be as audible as possible when you call. Hello, caller. Please tell me your name and where you calling from. Are you there, caller? We have to move to the next caller because there are many people who are trying to call. And once you're through, let's get to this caller. Hello, caller. Good evening, caller. we seem to be having a challenge there. But call us on 0772876481. Hello, caller.
Yeah, good evening, Anthony.
Yes, good evening. Please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
This is Reverend Joseph Kulupaka calling from Nizo.
Okay, so let's hear you.
Yeah, I want to thank the OIC for what he is doing, because the first group were there, were praising them, but they make us shame. And we want to say thank you for what you're doing. But I would like to inform you that there are a lot of people, they're running behind those who are taking in the drugs. But we need a community engagement where those that are living in the ghetto area, they know who is bringing these drugs to these gentlemen in the area and selling it. I can give you a typical example. When you call it garage, where I have 2 horses. My children had to run away from my house because of the those guys. I went there on several occasions. I sit there and see the DEA go there to the drug dealer for their share. Okay. I see police go there for their share. We have to engage the community leaders, community elders, that they will be empowered to make sure that anyone that will sell drugs in their area, we should be arrested by them, send them over to the police.
Okay. So let's go back to the line and pick this caller. Hello, caller. Please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
I'm Jeff, calling from Old Road.
Yeah, Jeff, let's hear you.
Okay, I appreciate the OIC talking about Zimbabwe, the great Zimbabwe. But the group, when it pulls Zimbabwe down, we appreciate that. But the entire group of Zimbabwe went to Kingrave at the Grace. And Kingrave, for each time the DEA goes there, they have a fellow who can supply the drugs. They will put in the car, and you hear the people calling, I don't know who, what is that or who. You get a huge sum of money, 50,000, 100,000, and you will leave the entire Kingrave group. So I want you to advise on that, to speak on the Kingrave closure. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much for calling. Well, somebody just one sheriff just wrote and said, "Hey, wow, this is so great. Liberia is getting better. Fangon, my biggest respect, director. Thank you." Let's go back to the line and pick the next caller. Hello, caller. Caller, are you there? So if we can get you, we'll move to the next one. Hello, caller.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes, please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
I'm Moses S. Dolo Atu, joining from Bangabon County.
Moses, let's hear you.
Yeah, I want to say thank you to the OIC. But then now, my question to him is that from time immemorial, they have been chasing the so-called or the drug addicts. They say the only way that they can fight the drugs, where the drugs are coming from for entering into the country. That's my first question. The second one has to do with, I mean, are they allowing the DA personnel to do that drugs test before the authorize them to get on the street as DA personnel?
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's go to the next caller. Hello, caller.
Yes, good evening.
Yes, good evening. Please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
I'm Evans. I'm flying a Cardwell.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks to the OIC. He has spoken very well in the news that we have heard in the different print media and electronic media is kind of cool. It's kind of welcoming for our country. But I would like to admonish my friend Vendela, Patrick. Yeah, he has been so combative, and that is the essence of the conversation tonight. We are listening, and we hope that the engagement should be much more friendly, and it should be focus squarely on the topic. Okay. Yeah, and moving to the issue of what that he agreed. We are working government, we've been working government for the past years, and when you go in government, you if you're not on payroll, there is something called the SP, similar package, which monetary brought in, and there is no similar package available for those he's speaking about, and the OIC has made it clear. So how would they be going there? Who is responsible for them?
What if he's going to exhaust them, and those three directors are not brought back?
Okay.
So you know, at the final analysis, you're going to get the payroll, because whoever that be brought in, they will have to bring their own people.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's go to the line and see. Hello, caller. Please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
Hello.
Please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
It's Maurice Kamara calling from Chikota.
Maurice, let's hear you.
Thank you for the words here, Christopher. This was the in question. One man to work for the Liberia Justice Agency, just like almost like a 5 person working. He involved all those that work for the LDEA, make them to be active in doing that job. The first thing on his leadership, I would say that I would really appreciate him for that. They have a duty that is open in improving on his leadership. And that a bigger PPRS is taking place at the entrance point of Liberia, which is several years out, and also the airport of Liberia.
Okay.
And he's ready putting things in place.
Okay.
At this time, he is ready to reform in the short period of time. We really appreciate him for that.
Thank you. So let's go to the line and pick the next caller. Hello there.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes, please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
Thank you, Chief. Let me listen to the rest of the panelists on the show. This is the voice of Kwewu William Povey, and I joined this conversation from this show today. Let me ask the OIC, the Liberia Justice Enforcement Agency, if you people go to Ray and you got a judge out of maybe doing judge business into a specific house, that only that judge out of you can arrest or you can arrest the landlord also, because if somebody renting from you, you should know the business the person do, you should monitor them. If Liberian people start to neglect these jobs, I think these are one of the ways that people can get rid of these jobs, because people in a big in the community. If I have my house, I can never accept any judge out to come and rest for me. If you rent one more time, I'll serve you.
Thank you so much, Kobe. Arrest the dealer, arrest the landlord as well.
Hello.
Let's go back to the line. Your name and where you calling from?
Yes, I'm Alvin Smith calling from Duburo.
Okay, Alvin, let's hear you.
I really want to know, actually, I want to tell the boss thank you, but the problem here, when the deals will run behind the drug takers and take them to the station, they pay money and come back. So what actually are they doing in this country? So I want to know, let him tell us, what is the punishment for those that are caught with drugs?
Okay. What is
and whether they are passed the laws for drugs in Liberia, because there's nothing taking place.
Okay, thank you.
You tell the drug taker, you pay money, you come back. You can't
So yeah, let's get. I'm sorry, we have so many callers on the line.
Hello?
Let's get your name and where you calling from.
Hello, I'm Joe calling from P.
Yeah, Joe, let's hear you.
Yeah, I was thanking the acting director for his hard work. I think when they work with the various communities, they will be able to catch more drug dealers and drug addicts. Then let me talk to the next person, Vandela Patrick, who was saying you want to teach somebody or correct somebody. Let me say that if director go and get 5 persons to be with him and the current government, get employment with government.
Well, I don't know if we got your question clearly, but let's take the next caller. Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, your name and where you calling from?
Macintosh, and I'm calling you from Gambaso.
Macintosh, let's hear you.
Yeah, I will applaud the DA director because the first people that were there when we were working, they are not paying the over input. Or if we own and doing something, we're getting names those who are inputting the job. But what I got to suggest to ask as many ideas is that when he would take a county tour every day, at least, because all of DA officers who do the same thing, because they arrest the drugs after they carry the deal, after one day you will see them. They will come back again, the same community again, and sell it. There's no penalty for them to bear. Then how can the drug fight will come to an end?
Okay. So let's fundamental question. Let's go to the line and pick the next caller. Hello. Please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
I'm speaking from Liberia. My name is Ernest Bower.
Ernest, let's hear you.
Well, you know, the drugs president we're talking about, we are only living in Liberia by the grace of God. If Liberia had already been having somewhere to poor people, they do how they work. Then we look at that, but there's no place. They arrest the people and carry them, you will see them right out in the street.
Okay.
There's nowhere we can carry this out. When you go to the street, you arrest them, and then you're feeding them with food, you can return food to them. Okay. You go wherever is best. You go Frito, it's more dangerous to fight. And they say, enemy, from Frito all the way to Boya, you don't play there in the night. Okay. You try behind you. When you go to balance level in West, it's really a few days that you are able to even walk through.
Okay. Thank you. We take the final call, and then we come because the officer in charge is supposed to leave in about 6-7 minutes.
Hello, good evening.
Let's hear you. Your name and where you calling from?
Yes, my name is Otero Sokan from Sino.
Oti, let's hear you.
Yes, thank you. I want to say thank you to the OIC still on his spoon talk. I just wanted to recommend to him that he should very be vigilant on his officer. Okay. If you check, even on a Saturday, they just do a survey. Every Saturday, the DEA officers, especially the countries, the drug countries, they are receiving mobile money on a daily basis. Every Saturday,
I know.
Every Saturday from those drugs dealers. Okay. You check. That money to go sell mobile money personnel every Saturday. There are a lot of transactions that go on straight. You will see the names that the people will be sending money to Nigeria, will be sending money to DA commander. You will see the name. They just do that survey. Okay. You better know. Well, they will employ. They continue to fight drugs.
You know, I'm very thank you. That's the last call. I'm very happy that you say he should take a survey because there's one man's claim. I mean, probably you were providing some information we will not get on the radio tonight. But so OIC, we know you have some 5 minutes or so to leave. But you've listened to the cross section of views. What is your response?
Well, I think one of the things that I cut across a lot of the comments from the callers is about the integrity of our officers, and I've told them repeatedly in Montserrat and across the country that law enforcement can only succeed if we have public legitimacy. And so the people have to trust the work we're doing. They have to have the confidence in what we're doing. That's the only way they will have the courage to come to us and share information with us. So I've told my officers that I will stand with officers who will work in ways that are consistent with the regulations and the laws. And I will separate any officer who go contrary to what is expected. And I like to tell the public that the LDEA has an office called the Professional Standard Division. It is a public complaint mechanism office that takes complaint from people. If you see officers out there doing stuff, getting involved in ethical transgression, getting involved in alleged corruption, brutality, just anything that is inconsistent with what they're supposed to be doing, we encourage you to file the complaints. We'll go through it and we'll take administrative decision where the evidence show. Community partnership, yes. With what we're facing in the country, there's no way we can succeed singularly as an institution. That's why the president set up this national steering committee to bring a couple of sector ministries and agencies together. And so we will be banking on community members, groupings, civil society to help us in the prevention phase. Arrest the landlord and the dealer. Absolutely. If the evidence showed that the landlord is involved, he had knowledge, or there are reasons to know that his tenant is involved in the drug trade. And a matter of fact, we made a couple of arrests recently that landlords reach out to us, about what's happening in their homes and in their community. Now, the problem with somebody talk about drug tests. Yes, I think I do not want to brag about this, but we started last week. We did do unannounced drug tests, and we will continue to do that. And I've told my officers, if you refuse to do the drug test, you'll be separated from the agency. If you do the drug test and you're positive, you'll be separated from the agency. And so if the other results that are being analyzed by the second lab, once we know what the results are in finality, we'll put it out to the public. But definitely, yes, we have to ensure that the officers are in line with what is expected of them. They're complaining from across the communities that Zogos are groupings here and there. The thing with it is that if you raid one community, they move to another. And so when we clear Zimbabwe, that group moved to Kingri. A portion of the group also went behind the SKD Sports Complex. And there's another gathering of that same group down Wembatan along the RI Highway. And we're working with community members currently to see how we can address those situations. I heard the issue of a Palm Grove Cemetery. I will tell my operational people and see how we address it. Rehabilitation, yes. The only way we can succeed is not arresting, especially the users, but to put them through rehab. If you put them through rehab, you do what they call, you cut down demand. So once they're treated and clean, you cut the number of persons that will be in the street demanding drugs. So yes, the government is committed to that. I've sat on the steering committee and we've seen the work being done, even though it's still at the policy phase. But once some of the policy documents we're looking at are concluded, we'll move to the rehabilitation phase, and then we can take them from the street and put into a home and get them treated. Recruitment, they got the fellow call from LOFA. Yes, in the future, if when we secure approval from the government through budgetary allocation, the agency is actually on a staff. We will have to recruit to cover effectively the country and ready the agency to tackle some of the issues that are coming. Prosecution, somebody talk about prosecution. We do prosecuting. I just said in my intro that we secure over 20 indictments across the country, specifically 19 should be in Montserrat County in the last term of court, and this August term of court, a lot of these trials, a lot of the cases will be coming to court to go on trial. And so again, we want to clarify that the LDEA Act, and you can open it, the fact checkers can listing. There's nowhere in the Act. We've done research and we stand to be corrected also, but there's nowhere in the Act, as we said, that authorizes director generals or deputy director general to bring in staff. Now, what I can say for transparency's sake, we have a duty manual, which is an institutional policy that allot positions, specific office position to the offices of the director general and deputy director generals. That's but not the LDEA Act. And again, we want to clarify that the people that we asked to stay home because the offices are locked were done to not breading them with the issue about transportation. They've not been utilized by any office, and they are not employed by the government of Liberia. And this is a security institution. We have to be sensitive about how we take decisions and how we allow people to access the offices.
Okay, so somebody said listening from Ghana and saying thank you to ELBC for coming live to them. We also see that Fabien, can you see what I'm seeing there? Okay, so we are at 9:30. So before we go to the rest of our panelists, do you have a parting comment for tonight?
Yes. Thank you, ELBC. This is my first time coming to your studio. I think it's fantastic, and you're doing an incredible job here. I hope you continue. Whenever we can, we have the time. We always stop by to speak to the Liberian people because we work for them, and to share what we're doing and what the successes are, what the constraints are, and see how we can talk to our people across the country to take this very seriously and reach out to LD agents and offices all across the country and complain about what's going on in your community. We're willing to partner with you. We're willing to come and do the town halls, to do the sensitization, and when we can. So I'm grateful, and we will do our best given the job we have now. We can only do more if we have more support from government and partners, but we are ready for the task, and we're grateful.
Thank you very much. While you are gone, we will stay here because the panelists listen to you. They have not yet concluded. I can see that Vandela cannot wait because he...
No, I really want to, I pushed the ORC, yes. Ali has succeeded in getting 30 minutes.
Okay.
And we ORC, thank you for coming. I know you are about to leave, but personally, I speak from my heart. I like the work that you are doing, and please take these recommendations with you to see the need to bring back these people. I mean, I'm very emphatic about that. These are professional people. You don't cry more than the bereaved. They went there. Even today, I was at the national legislature. People from central administration, they have not taken pay. And they asked the CSA boss to go and do a haircut. They've been there for more than 3 months. When you see Liberians sacrificing to work for their government, it should give you a sense of responsibility that these people are committed. I work in the US. Yeah. 2 days you don't pay me, I will not go to work. I will resign. Yes. So the fact that OIC, thank you very much. My critical stance is meant to question more, to give you the courage to work. You should know me by now. I speak from my heart. You do a great job. The other day I was to Limbasa. I saw your officers on motorbike and I felt offended. I don't want to hold you, but that I think I will take that debate to the president. Mm-hmm. You can't go arrest somebody you on motorbike. So I think that is wrong. Also hear the other panelists also. So I mean just a party comment because you are about to go, yes. But I have other issue that I will raise. I don't think I have the luxury of time. We'll bring him back. Okay. So let's again. I hope this is not my parting comment. We just because he's about to go. He's about to leave. So we just want to tell you goodbye. I got other issues. Maybe while he's going, he can call by any time.
Yes, so, if he still got issues, then we'll go so we can get time.
Somebody is saying on the screen that.
You want to finish? What time, my man?
We want to share information with you on a daily basis. That's what somebody is saying. The person said the following. From Maryland County and Sino Greenville.
Okay, because they're following from Sino Greenville, if they can put their number on the screen, then is it possible that they do that?
Yeah, that person is.
Would it be listening? Okay, so if the person is listening, I don't know how they will get my number. Can you share it with them?
Sure.
Okay, you want me to announce it on air or I should?
Yes.
So it's 0886-574948.
0886-57-4948. And don't call now because the man is still in studio. Some of you want to call now. Don't call now. We know some of you.
The fellow panelists are saying they also want to give their own party comment. Okay. So let's start with Sise. And then we go over to Kotu. And then
the Libra and the Libra. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. OIC. Right before you leave, like I say again, thank you for the work that you said as a partnership and the effort. At least your frame of thought is about prevention more than arresting our way out of the drug issue. And by the way, to the rest of the panelists, I did put in our chat room the LDEA Act, and like the OIC said, there's nothing in there that talks about bringing your own employees. I just want to point that out. But thank you so much, and I hope the work continues. And I hope when you come back some other day, you can share with us some of the experiences you've had and some things that you would have done differently than what you found at the LDEA and how you can move the agency forward to serve all Liberians.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kotu, let's hear you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And likewise, I just want to extend, my thanks and appreciation to the DEA. And, like we have said from the onset that this era is actually an important era to this country, especially at this crucial stage. And for what we have seen, we hope that, you can continue the good work. You have heard from the Liberian people that where you're dislodged, they go and reassemble. I think what you guys continue to do is to continue to dislodge them until they can find nowhere to hide. And they will kind of give up. I think that will help in the process. But if you dislodge them and they go and regroup and you do not pay attention to them, then they will go there and resettle, and we should be, useless of your effort that you are making. I think I appreciate that, move that you guys making. And, we have, I think to say, like you readily said, that you guys are taking drug tests and deal with your own in-house issue. Because I know during the early time when they had the DEA that was dealing with their employees, reinforcing, the law within, with their employees. I had a friend that was there, and even he ended up leaving his girlfriend because the girlfriend was selling drug, and he did not want to be, alarmed with the girlfriend because she was selling drug. And I think if you guys put those same system back to actually reform your employees there, I think it will do a great help to those our nation, and that we will appreciate highly. And I want to also extend my thanks and appreciation to you and your group.
Thank you. The Liberal.
Thank you.
I can come in if the Liberal.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead, Chief. Go ahead.
The Liberal is going to cede. So go ahead. The Liberal come afterwards.
Okay, so everyone is praising the OIC, which is good, and I would also like to add to it.
Oh, no, I wanted to say that. No, I praise you, but I have a dissenting opinion.
I am kind of a little bit, taken aback by the statement he made, or during his explanation when he talked about this large guys from and the go to.
You are very low.
We're losing you.
Better than that. Oh, okay. So yeah, it's a network. So I was referring to the statement he made about how when they go to one community, the guys move to another community, sounding like a Tom and Jerry situation. So I think that if you cannot really combat this thing to get rid of it, to eradicate it, or minimize it to the lowest extent, it means that you guys are not really doing a lot. All right. Not doing a lot doesn't mean you are not doing anything, but I think that you guys should really work on how you can get the thing eradicated from all communities, rather than saying that we chase the cat from here, it goes to this other point, and then we get. So it's like you sound like it's an unending tax. It's never going to end, or we are not going to see anything that fruitful. So I would really like to just bring your attention to that, and see to it that you probably rephrase that statement or find a solution if the statement is actually correct.
Okay, so we can see here that Stamford Newell is following from Maryland. Francis Keto is following from Foya, Lofa County.
Maryland, Liberia, US.
Maryland, Liberia, please.
Okay.
So Francis Keto from Foya, Lofa County. Anthony Nyamti is also following. So let's go to the Libra now for his own.
Yes, this is in Liberia. Boss, thank you for coming. I have so many questions, but because of the time frame, we will limit ourselves. I think you guys, this is about the second or the third time that this particular entity under the leadership of Honorable Fakon and Honorable D-Flow have put us in a position that is unredeemable as far as I'm concerned. Because if you bring us here and bring the guests who are educated, very smart, expert in their area, but yet still you come out and let us only ask one question. You expect the Liberal to be satisfied with one question.
Maybe you should stop giving your time away so much.
So the thing is,
I think by simple thing, you should stick to it 1 minute.
So please, have you landed, sir?
Yes, I'm done. Thank you.
Okay. So at this point, we will now go back to the OIC to
the close-up.
Yeah.
Firstly, I want to thank all the panelists. Let me clarify when we said you clear one zone, they move to another zone. It's a continuous process, but frankly, I will tell you my heart, the long-term goal and solution for these at-risk youth is rehabilitation. And again, I repeat, the government has set up a national framework to address the issue of rehabilitation, because I can say to you, there's no prison in Liberia to put all the users in, and you're not going to win because they get out, they go back to the same attitude. So the long-term solution is rehab, and that's where it is that direction the government is going. I'd like to thank all my LDEA agents and colleagues who are listening, or who are not listening but sitting at far distances and borders, trying to ensure that we cut the supply line to our country. I'm here because you're out there doing incredible work. I want to encourage you to continue doing it, but let's do it in a way that will inspire confidence and trust in the Liberian people, for only their legitimacy that can empower us to do what we're doing. I want to thank all of you, and whenever we can, we'll always stop by.
Thank you very much.
Thank
That's the officer in charge there at the LDEA. He's been sitting with us tonight on the show, providing us information about the DEA and all these powerful panelists. I heard one of our panelists say, you bring these smart people and then you bring all of us smart people here and you give us very little time. But that's what the show is about. We're not short of the right people to bring the right discussion to the table. So we go back to the way we were doing it. We'll go back to Vandela. You've been listening to the officer in charge. You've been listening to the callers. You've been listening to fellow panelists. So what are your further interventions as we move towards the final lap of the show?
So I don't think, can somebody look at the mic? Am I clear? I think I'm not feeling like I'm audible. Whatever the case.
Vandela, you are low. You are very low.
Yeah. Okay, I'm okay now.
Yes.
So like I said, my only disappointment. This is the first guest that we have brought to this show that did not spend the exact 2 hours. This country have to be built on principles. We say this show runs from 8 to 10. The guests must be prepared. If we continue this path, I want to beg the indulgence of D-Flow to make his guests be very clear. When you come here, it's 2 hours. You either agree or not. But I wanted to ask the officers in charge, what policy has he introduced that is different from the previous ones that were introduced or implemented or executed by those 3 suspended, directors? Because what I have learned, I have been following the issue at the quote unquote of the arrest. Looking time, there have been 20 arrests, first of its kind in this country, that people are giving account. The ZOR, or we can say the ZOR, or drugs. 20 cases. So he's been there for almost like 2-3 months. He did not give us statistics of how many cases, how many persons are being arrested and forwarded to court. When you come to such a platform, national platform, statistics are supposed to be at the tip of your finger. We want to know, what is the workforce of the LDEA? What were those challenges he met? What policy have he put into place that is different from what they are doing? We did not get that from him. And this is my own disappointment in D-Flow, because we want our guests to stay here for 2 hours so we can intellectually prosecute them and perhaps they can address some of our questions. The last issue has to do with, look, for me, in the first place, his appointment was illegal, in line with public sector administration. You remember some time ago when Madam Salim was in power, she suspended our cabinet. It brought a complete disappointment in her government, and she received international latches. Now, the issue that took place at the LDEA, I would have expected His Excellency Joseph Numa Boakai, my own grandfather, to have thoroughly investigated. You can suspend everybody. Okay, granted, he has the right to suspend everybody. But I think the best that should have been done was the highest ranking officer, in the absence of these 3 directors, to take over, to run the LDEA and make sure, because it was an internal problem. Bringing somebody from Ulster now who is saying, I listen to many of the callers talking about, and let me just educate my dear brother, Thomas Goa. I understand you work for state radio. For me, I'm an activist, and I will be very independent. I speak from my heart, and that's why I let this government and Eugene Facon and D-Flow, because they knew that I will not come here and wear a choir gown to sing praises. I will not. We'll balance the show. We'll be very robust. We'll be very articulate. We'll be respectful. But what I can say here, every minister appointed in government, you are entitled, because the 5% they talk about security, they talk about driver, they talk about special assistant, they talk about your secretary, and this is a security institution. Other people that were there, the man who were there first, Mr. Shaw, he and I were at Cottonwood Graduate School. He carried the same people. The other guy that was there, Honor George Weah, he carried the same people. So it's a
time, and then we move to the
yeah. So what I wanted to say is that I don't want people to argue these people were not on the payroll. There was a time period for them to be placed on the payroll. Like today, there are people who were employed at the national legislature. The CSA did not put them on payroll. They have been working there for more than 2 months. The same thing happened with the LDA. There is a process. So today I went to the national legislature to observe with my own eyes. I saw hair counts that the CSA is counting them to make sure that these are legitimate people. They were brought here by legitimate authorities. So the same thing for the ORC to have gone there, 15 persons. Even the minister or the executive mansion, His Excellency Joseph Numa Bwaka, the office of the president, there were people working there. So he went there, he replaced them.
You're saying the same thing.
So we should not be seeing this thing to be like, the people are not civil servants and they are not doing no, you can't do that. If you don't understand the law, you should read.
Okay, Mandela, thanks very much. Let's take the next panelist. Sisse, can we take you?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, please.
And I want to begin from where Vandela ended. If you don't understand the law, you should read.
Yes,
but I read the Civil Service Act, and I've read the LDEA Act. I put it in our chat room. There's nothing there that talks about that. So if you really want this show to be an intellectual exchange, sometimes just like the OIC Acts, just point us to the right place, and we can go and read it, and then we all can know.
But he admitted to that. He admitted.
Hold on 1 second, Vandela.
No, not get this clear. He admitted.
You are giving space to speak.
Okay, sorry, sir. But he admitted. He said yes.
Protected,
and for him admitting does not mean that it's factual. The man told you that. Saying that again, if you allow me to speak, Vandela, when you were talking, we're all quiet. I don't think that's fair to me that I'm talking and you're laughing in the background. I don't think that's fair.
Sorry, sir.
Because we right. And so he told you, he explained to you that it is an expected practice. It is not law. And you keep telling us it's law, and it's not. There is a difference between legality and prudence. It might not have been prudent for the president to fire people, but it was legal. So when we get on this radio platform, we should be very careful with the words that we're using. Because again, I'm still waiting. When you were talking, I spent my time researching everywhere. I was reading the LDEA Act. I was looking at the Civil Service Act. There's nothing in there that states that. So we just want to make sure that just because it's a practice doesn't mean it's legal. There's a difference. The other piece is, since we're talking housekeeping, about people coming and spending 2 hours, can I also just make a suggestion that we all take our time to be on these platforms and that we expect that we have a proportionality of time. I would have loved to ask questions about the statistics that Vandela is pointing out to, but we didn't have the chance because Vandela spent almost 30 minutes going back and forth with a question that was asked and answered. And so while we are doing this, I think it's okay that we take a holistic view, that we all make sure that when panelists show up, that we have equal time to be able to ask these questions. My last piece I have to say is that I think there are a lot of work that has to be done. The LDEA is behind, and it's not one person's fault. I think it's been a process for the time they were established. They were established for just being behind. I will hope that people who have the authority, and I'm talking about the legislature, can see reason in making sure that they can beef up the amount of employees at the LDEA and ensure that they are funding this. Because if we really believe that our youth are our future leaders, and we see a situation where drugs is coming in and it's really, really affecting them, I think we need to make sure we put a lot of money into that, a lot of manpower into that, be very serious about it to ensure that we are fighting this, because this is an issue that is an existential threat to the survival of the nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sisse. Koto, can we go now?
Yes, thank you so much. Sometimes when we come here, like Sisse rightly said, we should have the fights. Then when we're addressing issues, that the people of Liberia will know exactly what we are discussing. the very legislatures he talks about, that they have people that he brought in, they are not paid. That very legislature, 2010, if I can remember vividly, I may not remember the day. We were there because by then I was in the RBB school. The EU was suggesting and even had a fund to sponsor employees that will be trained, that they would not have that problem of breaking in employees as this representative or senators coming in. And again, those senators and representatives refused because they wanted to do the same thing, bringing in people that they want to bring in personally, which is not good. And you cannot bring in responsibility on the government, then you expect the government to come and take liability that they did not plan for. And this is where the corruption comes in, like I'm saying. Now you're saying they should pay those people. Where do you expect the money to come from and pay those people? It's in personal pocket or where they should go create money somewhere. That's not fair. We should be very, very well practical. This is a law. This not like if it is accepted in me, it's a law. We accepting it because that's just some person that people come in to bring people with them. But it is not the law that the government is responsible to pay them. Now you bring these people in, the next person come and bring other people in, they put in liability. Then you have these officers overcrowded that the output is very low. Now you're saying that you see that even the OI is complaining. They do not have the number of people to do the work. Reason is people are coming in, going out. People coming in, going out. If they have people set employed that this person coming in and bringing other group, they will have the people to do the job that they have, the responsibility they have to do the job. You have to go and be somebody coming and going in and out. I think we should do better. If we want to be a law, put it into law that automatically when the people come in, they have the allotment already set up for them to pay them. But if you don't have that, you will not create, problem. Then you see they have supplementary payrolls. They bring it and create it that they pay on ghost names and all. That's where all of these ghost names come from. Because these people leave and go, their names stay in and taking money. I think it's not right when we come there, let's educate our Liberians that if you are in this position, people bring you in. Make sure they put you on payroll, or most of the time you yourself start putting in your process. Because I know a friend that was with immigration at the time. He used to work with John Smart. John Smart did not employ him, but when the next guy came, he started running after his process because John Smart left to get in the employ of immigration. So, I mean, it's not forced. You bring the people in, be responsible for them. Don't bring liability on the government. I want to say thank you, and we had a good time, today, regardless of all of the. And I'm begging that Vandera should not take more time on one thing because it was just a repetition. He just kept repeating over and over on one issue that we have had a lot of discussion today.
And I UP man, wow.
So.
No, I'm not UP either. I am not UPS. I am here independent. I'm working for myself. You know I am at work right now. I take my time to work for the Liberian people. I don't want money for it. So my time is very important. Let me make use of it, in a proper manner. Thank you very much, Vandela.
Pulling legs to get people talking. Okay.
I know Vandela went back 7 times, so I know.
So let's get Thomas Guo. Tonight I hope I got it right. Thomas Guo. We were trying to get it right, and he was teaching us how to pronounce it. Thomas, are you there?
I think Thomas took a break.
Oh, yeah, he said he was taking a break.
Good.
So we will come to you, sir. We will come to you for your turn.
Then the Libra.
The Libra, yeah.
Yes. Thank you. As a liberal, when I listened to my older brother Patrick, I started laughing because this young man, he's not somebody that we can just take lightly. I mean, he's been around. He has engaged lots and lots of people on behalf of lots and lots of people of our country. So when he sits somewhere, people gravitate to it and they listen keenly. So when he make a statement, as we have to hold these people responsible when they come out here. They have to make sure they tell us and they allow the time that is agreed upon. Well put, sir. Thank you very much. But Mr. Patrick, though, as someone who wants to follow and say they should do something that is within the confines of law, whatever it is, we have to hold you responsible as well when you're here. They gave us from start, they said each panelist have 2 minutes. I have a clock that I put on here as a liberal. I put a stop clock on, so you went over by almost 15 minutes. And now you want us now to be lecture because the show is not following protocol. Sir, as a liberal, unacceptable. Preach to us what you want us to do, and then we'll follow you as well. Now, I'm not going to go more than that. I will leave it as that. But I will hope that when we come, because people listen to you, and they once they call Patrick and someone, the people respect that there will be some definite conversation and definite engagement. And Patrick is not going to be pulling punches of singing praise singer like Sam Sinto and the rest of the folks that will be the praise singer. But if we're going to do that, Mr. Patrick, please help us and let's obey the rule. What I want to say to Ormo Falcon and Ormo D-Flow for this program, which is very good, I think these people that you're asking to join us, they seem to me, I don't have their credential. I'm speculating at this point that they are highly educated, and I'm very good at that speculation. That's my middle name. I believe that they are highly educated. They are good in the area where they are working. They are expert in the area. When they come out here, allow them to stay full time, even if you can make it 2 days in a row. Because what we're also doing here, I believe, and I could be wrong, but what we're doing here is also educating Liberians. The guests will come and help us to educate Liberians in their field of study. What are some of the things they do? But we ask 1 or 2 questions, and we have almost 30-40 minutes of the audience, which is very good to participate. If we're going to do that, if we're going to say we're going to have a schedule for audience call, that particular time lot should be part of the programs. And we should tell ourselves, okay, you allow 2 minutes, and within 2 minutes time, you're done. The moderator call you out, call your name, you're done. That's it. No more. So let's try to start this program, because it's an educated program. It's one of the, as far as I see it, intellectual platform where we come, we discuss issues that pertain to our country, but from respect and responsibility. So let's hold ourselves to a higher degree of standard, I would say. Thank you very much for the show. The liberal is here, and the liberal is not going to go out.
Yeah. I was just about to raise the flag for the liberal, but the liberal knew, and so he would watch his stop clock.
So let me apologize to my fellow panelists. This is it was not intentional, but I thought to intellectually see the time to allow the ORC to stay. If I not provoke the intellectual aroma of the ORC, who are left within 1 hour, I think I succeeded in keeping here for additional 30 minutes. We as intellectuals or activists, we provoke situation to allow the individual to speak from their hearts rather than the lips. And I succeeded tonight to have kept here for 30 minutes. And I respect all of you. And some of you who are being appealing, stay here, this and that. But there are ways we invoke certain. Yeah, there are ways we invoke certain languages to allow the person to say, something will not be fun. So again, I apologize. And so the liberal, Goya, Guo, my sister Balayan, I want to sincerely apologize. You know, I'm your little brother. You know, I'm very humble. Don't mind me. I have a political face, I have an activist face, and I have a family face. Tonight, I evoke one of my faces, the face of activism. I think we succeeded. Everyone all benefited tonight. So you should be singing praises to me. So again, Mr. Brown, the man with the sweet voice, my sister, Faben Kuya, you know, and all of you guys, the technicians, D-Flow and Fagon, thank you to have allowed a critical voice to be on this platform. It means we are protecting the integrity of the nation's pride, that a critical voice can be here. So maybe in the U.S. State Department report, they say, yeah, the people promoting freedom of expression. But nobody will come and arrest me while living for you, and they are told something different.
Next time, let a critical voice bring the information you're quoting from.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's been a great time tonight. Thanks to all of you who've been following. I mean, we got indications from in the country, outside of the country, that this show is being listened to widely. Fabian, do you have one final thing to say tonight before we close?
Yes, I want to thank all the panelists tonight on the program. It was a wonderful program, and I do agree with the laborer Samson too, who said we should have more time, and even CC and others. And I think that makes sense. If we have guests appearing and the show is for 2 to 3 hours, I think they should stay and give us more detail as we engage our guests on the program. And so probably, like, for example, having the transport minister yesterday and today the OIC of DEA, we can bring them back another time and have the full 3 hours with them so that we engage them and they tell us, including the public, what they are into based on our discussions. So I want to say thanks to all of you tonight. And it was a great show, as I said earlier. And hopefully, God's willing, we will be back here tomorrow.
Thank you, Fabian. Like everyone said, like the Libra said, like Patrick said, like everybody on the show said, probably what we need to do sometimes when we come in with the guests, we spread the topics out. It could take 2 days. You could take aspects on one day and another set of aspects on another day. In that way, you have more because remember, we're several on the show, and then we'll have several people calling as well. And then sometimes there'll be 1 or 2 or more guests as well. But let me say thanks to everybody as we leave. We always say, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. In the voice of His Excellency, Joseph Newman Bwaka, Senior President of the Republic of Liberia. In whatever we do, think Liberia, love Liberia, and build Liberia. Good night from America.